All right, we just got the ROG Ally X in hand. Better late than never. It feels like the YouTubers of the world have had this for months, but I got it. Today we're just gonna unbox this bad boy, get some games installed, and get our initial feel for what this is gonna be like. Am I gonna keep it? Do I like it more than the OLED? I doubt I'm gonna be able to answer that within a few hours of trying to rush and get this video out to you guys as soon as humanly possible. But we're gonna check out some of the game's performance, of course, but also, like, you know, are all my fears about using a Windows handheld device gonna come true? Spoiler, yeah, I already got the blue screen of death just trying to get this thing up and running. There are some things that I'm already really enjoying. This color scheme I like so much more than the white one, which is actually a huge reason I didn't ever get the ROG Ally, because I just don't like how it looks, and they didn't have any variants or any ability to get it in a color scheme that I would want, which would probably be black or something darker. Another thing I wasn't anticipating, how nice the controllers are. I'm not sure how to compare it to the original because I've never owned the original, but these are phenomenal. In fact, I like the joysticks better than the Steam Deck. I'm not a huge fan of this style D-pad, but it's not that it's bad, it's just that I wouldn't pick that one. The other thing that we can just get right out of the way, this is the new battery king for handheld gaming devices, kind of by a lot. So when it's being compared to the OLED, it's getting better performance at about the same wattage. It's pulling like 1 watt more, but that's not noticeable. But that 80 watt hour battery is giving so much battery life that all of a sudden you can play games for like an hour longer. So first initial thoughts, battery life, amazing. The OLED Steam Deck kind of felt like the first handheld PC that had enough battery where you didn't really have to think about it. All the other ones, you definitely thought about it. You were freaking out about it the whole time. Now you're getting the performance that you would dream that you could have on the OLED Steam Deck, and with more battery life. What's there to complain about that? So something that I actually really like, and I hope that they bring it to the Steam Deck version 2, is the login with your fingerprint. These are computers. We're logging into Google, all these accounts. If somebody stole this and you don't have the passcode on, like on the Steam Deck when you go to sleep, and then you wake up and now I gotta type in this stupid PIN to get into this. I don't like that. I'm already enjoying this experience way more. That was way better. It's like the little things like that. Windows 11 seems to do a better job with the on-screen keyboard than SteamOS. Let me explain before you freak out. It just has a little bit more of an intelligent on-screen keyboard. It knows when you click on a field to just pull it up for you automatically. The Steam Deck doesn't do that. You have to manually pull up the keyboard every time you want it. But then also, when you hit enter and you're done with the keyboard, Windows 11 knows and it disappears. It's a lot more like using a smartphone, and I really appreciate that, and I really think that SteamOS should integrate a lot of those features on the on-screen keyboard. Something that I didn't know is how big the bezel is on this little screen. It's a little itty bitty 7-inch 16:9. It's just like a little bit too much of a wide screen, especially with these beefy little, they're just taking up all this space for nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if the ROG Ally 2 has an OLED or some sort of upgraded screen that's a 16:10 that utilizes edge-to-edge screen. But the screen is phenomenal for not being an OLED. Honestly, I'm not complaining at all coming from the OLED to this screen, other than I like the size of the Steam Deck's screen a little bit more. Now that we talked all the crap about Windows running on a handheld, which again, like the setup of this device had to have been 3 times longer than the Steam Deck. And in that process, I was like updating, and then you have to go back and update another thing, and then you have to go into another area and update that thing. Then there's like a video that plays that's 7 minutes long. And it's like, yo, wait.
Stop. wait. Don't click away from this video just yet.
Don't skip this video. Don't skip the video. Just watch the video because we're gonna tell you everything that you need to know to set up your device. And I was like, fine, I'll watch it. So I watched it in double speed because the video is freaking 7 minutes long. The Steam Deck, from unboxing to playing a game, took 20 minutes. There was no video of a guy coming on and explaining to me that there are multiple places that you need to go find and do multiple different types of updates. And so once you do all of that, because, you know, Windows, then everything starts working. Except that I did those things. And I went to unplug it because I was doing like an update. I wanted to bring it in the other room. So I unplugged it, but I got this death screen, a warning. It was like updating the BIOS and it needed to be plugged into power and it flipped out on me. And then it crashed and then it just came on and continued, finished. Now there's nothing wrong with it. So it's just like those little weird things that Windows does that's just, so frustrating. Honestly, the feel is not bad at all. I don't mind it one bit. It's absolutely chunkier than the OLED. In fact, the OLED with a case on it, I think is still a little bit thinner because it fits into docks and stuff a little bit better than this. I just realized that this doesn't even fit in a dock that I own. Like, it's too chunky to fit in it. However, holding it, I don't feel like it's chunky at all. It feels great. It's nice. The buttons feel great. I don't know, no complaints. Okay, now we're gonna jump into the unboxing and setup and some gameplay at the end of the video. Thank you for watching. This is just to show you what the experience is like for a first-timer ROG Ally X user. Let's go. Yo, this got smashed up. That delivery dude did not care. We got the little included kickstands, which I'm not gonna use, so I'll keep that there. Tells you to power it in first, then push the power button. Kind of nice having two USB-C ports, not gonna lie. Button. Right away. Rumbles. We get that screen. And honestly, for not being OLED, so I've actually never owned the Ally. So I don't know what this setup experience is gonna be like. All I know is it uses Windows 11, and that already pains my soul. So I'm really hoping that they're gonna impress me and that this is going to be pretty seamless and painless. Okay, even that, the fact that when I typed it in and hit enter, it knew I no longer wanted the keyboard is actually fantastic and something that SteamOS doesn't do. You have to manually pull it up and manually pull it away. I love that it knows that this is an email area, so it has .com and the @ I don't have to fumble around and try to do that. So this is also much nicer, and I don't know why SteamOS hasn't incorporated these types of things on the on-screen keyboard. Just having to say no to everything for the stupid freaking Windows stuff, that is annoying. I do want this pass, but I'll do it later. Okay, so something I'm noticing right away is how much bigger and nicer the OLED Steam Deck's screen looks because the bezels are so much smaller. I didn't realize how huge the bottom and top bezels are on the ROG Ally. and the Ally X because they have the exact same screen. But already you have a smaller screen and they're not giving us that extra real estate, making it a super wide 16:9 aspect ratio. Because these bezels, that's no bueno. That shouldn't have happened in this update. I'm not gonna lie. Now we're at the point that we're in Windows. Everything has almost been updated, but I'm gonna check out all the settings in Armory Crate and whatnot. CPU boost comes default as on, but most of the time you're not gonna really need the CPU boost if you want to be playing, you know, getting the best battery life, which is kind of the big selling point of this device, is that massive battery. And so if you want, and you're playing a demanding game, you can come in here and turn CPU boost on. Why it's on as default, I don't know. It seems like that should be like an advanced setting that you would turn on if you want to really push the limits. And that it's different from these settings. Like, I feel like if I hit turbo, it should turn it on. I don't know. Again, this is my first time ever using the ROG Ally. Now there are some more updates in Armory Crate, so I'm gonna do that.
Welcome to your new ROG Ally. Now stop, wait, don't click away from this video just yet. I'm about to tell you a few things you absolutely need to know to get started. You hold in your hands one of the most powerful, versatile gaming handhelds on the planet. That means it does take a bit of setup for the best possible experience. But don't worry, we're going to walk you through the whole process in just a few minutes, so you can start gaming as fast as possible. Stick with us, it's going to be worth it.
The fact that they have to have this 7-minute video showing you how to play a game is insane. This is what, like, oh my gosh. The Steam Deck, I have a video where I unbox the entire thing and I'm playing a game. From opening the box to playing the game, I think was 20 minutes, something like that. It's like a console. So yeah, this is a huge minus that I'm having to do this right now. And that there's like, hey, make sure you update here, but don't forget to go to this one and update stuff there. And by the way, you should probably update under settings, systems, blah, 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 blah. It's like Windows. Oh my gosh. Why does it not change from watch later? Never show me this again. Okay, so now we need to go back. I thought I already updated that. Apparently there are still more updates that I need to do, but I'm getting impatient, so I'm gonna jump into a game and check it out. Starting things off nice and tasty, high settings, but also I need to update Windows and everything, so this is not gonna perform as well as it probably will after I update things. But there we go. Actually, it's playing pretty friggin' good. You might not be able to see that 40 to 50 frames per second at high. Okay, so that is how long it took from unboxing to jumping in the first game. Definitely not as fast as the Steam Deck, but not horrible. Not great either. But these graphics look so nice at high. I'm not sure if it went to 1080p though. It says 720. It's just glitching out. Time to update this thing, but you get the gist. I'm gonna finish setting this whole thing up, and then we'll jump in and do some real game tests. Okay, already experiencing my first Windows-esque issues here. I was doing an update and I unplugged it because I was gonna bring it with me while it was restarting. But that freaked it out because it was doing some BIOS update that I didn't even know that that's what it was doing. This is another example of a Windows-esque situation that you just do not experience on the Steam Deck. It doesn't have all these weird finicky multi-step updating in multiple areas and doing crazy stuff like updating the BIOS the day that you get it on the like second day of its release. Feels very Windows to me, very janky, and they always have these crazy warnings, and it's like all red, warning. And for whatever reason, if you unplug this, it could just destroy everything, even though the battery is full. It is 100%. Oh, stuff like that's just very scary with these devices. Oh my gosh. No. No, that's so crazy. Okay, I'm gonna plug the stock power back in, because apparently it can't handle life, and hopefully we'll say restart. I can't believe, I cannot fathom right now that I'm getting the blue screen of death already. All I tried to do was update. I still really love that fingerprint login. Okay, so now we're here. I don't know what it was freaking out about. It also doesn't seem to want to boot with the external display plugged in for some reason. Alright. Looks like that's all updated. Okay, so now that I created and signed up and made an account, it says I need to update this. But I don't know what it's updating. To accommodate the system upgrades and to deliver better user experience, please update my Asus to the latest version. So I think you need this? Maybe not. I don't even know what this is. After finally figuring out all the places and all the things to update, I got it all set up. So then I started downloading all my games, and now, finally, we are at the point where we can start jumping in and testing out some games. First off, we're just checking out a nice, simple, easy game, because in the background, actually, I am downloading like multiple games on multiple different platforms. So this isn't like a real world test of performance. More so, I was just, after whatever 2 hours of trying to get this thing set up, I just wanted to see a game, any game, playing on this device. I have it plugged in and running on my 4K TV. So yeah, no complaints here. It's looking fantastic. I switched over just on screen because we're really here to check out this device. I just wanted to see how well it could handle playing at 4K and how easy it would be to use an extended monitor. This right here is the benefit to Windows on a handheld device. However, it's so easy to get these games on the Steam Deck, except like Wuthering Waves, which is what I'm gonna install right now, is just blocked from Linux. So this is actually gonna work because it's Windows. So I guess that's good. Just natively, dude, what happened to the mouse? Again, that's crazy. But anyways, you can just download all the games from any platform and it should just work. Or it'll work just as well as it does on any PC. Currently, this game is just impossible to run on the Steam Deck natively. You have to use like GeForce Now to play it. And that's because they're blocking Linux from being able to run the game. Do you hear that? It just went and my mouse came back. That doesn't make any sense. All right, nice and easy, simple setup, and we are in Wuthering Waves on a handheld PC. This is great. It's running fantastic because, again, we're still downloading a bunch of games in the background, so performance should be better than this, so take it with a grain of salt. This is me just being impatient after that exhaustive setup. and I just want to get into some games, see how they run. The sound coming out of the speakers is pretty good. I have no complaints about it. I've heard some of the other handheld PCs have pretty bad sound. I would not categorize this as bad at all. And I actually do play games quite often on my Steam Deck just using the speakers on it. And so I do think it's important to have decent sound on these handheld devices.
Vamos aqui.
Now we're done downloading everything. There's nothing else on, and we're going to try to test out some of the performance on some of these games. We're going to start things off in turbo, high settings, 1080p in Elden Ring. I'm still learning and trying to figure out how to navigate all the different settings that you can do on this device. And so please call me out in the comments if I'm doing something wrong. Like, I think I tried to set up the frame generation and whatnot, but I don't think it's working. And also, at 720p low settings, I was really expecting this game to be performing better than this, because I feel like this is very close to what I get on the Steam Deck. As far as I can tell, we're at 17 watt performance, low settings, 720p, and we're hovering right about 50 frames per second, which is not bad, but not great. I would have loved to have seen 60 frames per second. And I think we should be able to do that, but maybe not.
Over here.
Now we're going to jump into some Final Fantasy VII Remake with the 17 watt performance, settings on, at high settings, 1080p. This game runs really well on the Steam Deck, so I'm pretty interested to see how well it can run on this device. Right now we're about 40 frames per second, which again isn't terrible that we're at 1080p high settings, but I thought we'd get more. So we're gonna dump down to high-low settings, because this can actually help that frame rate a lot. And so right away, we're now in the 50s. It's trying to climb a little bit higher, but it looks like it's not going to. And then it's just plummeted back to 40 frames per second, back to 50. So yeah, we're getting like that 40 to 50 frames per second. It seems to be wanting to get closer to the 50 frames per second at these settings. I'd like to see us get closer to 60 frames per second, so I'm gonna drop down to 720p. and see how this does. That's better. Now we're getting that 60 frames per second in this game, but I really would have loved to have played this at 1080p, which I actually play this at 1080p on my Steam Deck all the time on an external monitor, and it plays pretty solid at 1080p. And I was really expecting this to be able to hit that 60 frames per second at 1080p. Okay, 25 watt turbo, high-low settings, 720p. I'd love to see that 60 frame rate just locked in, which is very close now. If we get out of areas where it's a little bit more difficult to run, now it's jumping all the way up into 70 frames per second. It just seems a little touchy. That's too much of a difference. So we're gonna go low, turbo, 720p, and we're still chilling at that 70. I saw it hit 73 frames per second. I mean, that's not bad. That's great. The game looks wonderful at low settings. Now we're gonna jump into God of War, 25 watt turbo, low settings, 720p, FSR 2.0 set to quality. I have high hopes for this. We're getting around 45 frames per second. Again, I was kind of expecting more than that. Well, after playing a little bit, now it's jumping to 55, almost hitting 60. So that's a little bit better. But I am in like a little room in the game right now. This isn't like the hardest thing ever for it to run. So again, am I just like missing something? Do I need to go somewhere deeper into the settings of this device so that I could start seeing some better frames per second? Because to be honest with you, my initial thoughts are that I'm not having any more fun playing any of these games on this device over my OLED. And so I don't think it's worth spending this much money on this device. I might need to wait until the Gen 2 comes out, which will have a significant boost in performance. But as it stands right now, just getting that little boost in performance and having a better battery, I don't think it's worth it for me. I'm never playing games long enough where on the OLED I'm ever concerned about battery life. And when I travel, I just bring an external battery. And even that, I have not had to use yet. I was really hoping with the improved amount of RAM and some of the other elements that they incorporated in this little reboot of the Ally that it was actually going to be sufficient enough for me to want to pay for it. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I've only been playing this for like 20 minutes. I might need to go in and change some settings. Over the next couple days, I'm gonna absolutely put this thing through its paces and see if it's worthy of keeping. I'm not sure I'm sold on keeping this. Is it worth $800 just to have like a little bit better performance and a little bit better battery life? I don't know. I'm just not sure it's worth it. If you've been an ROG Ally fan for a while, maybe leave some comments for me, somebody who has not used this platform, on all the things that I need to be looking at and how to make sure that I'm getting the most out of it. Make sure to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments what you would like me to test out on the ROG Ally X. Thanks for being here, guys. We just crossed over 5,000 subscribers.